Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Factional Fight plays Wurm Online. My name is Brother Brian, and this is Brother Adam. Sorry, I couldn't say that with a straight face. Let's keep going. Today, we are talking about priests, if you haven't guessed already. And the wonders and the mysteries surrounding priests. I was definitely one of those people that had no idea what a priest was, but luckily Brother Adam here has decided to share his knowledge finally with us, as you are well versed in the mysterious ways of the priest.
Yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of people have been asking about. I'm getting a lot of personal tells asking for this particular episode, so yeah, hopefully you enjoy it and learn something from it.
Alright, let's get to it, only on the Saturday Night Factional Fight. Alright, so before we get into the priesthood, like always, we are going to talk a little bit about the village and what we did during the village during the last week. So what did we do? Maybe you can start us off, Adam?
I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've been doing is actually being done by you. I've been really busy in real life, so I think what we're looking at right now is the start of the plans for the outer wall, which looks really nice.
Yes, it's something that I was working on the last week, just trying to get a layout at least, because I know each level of these houses are going to take like over 1k of bricks, approximately.
They're very long, these houses, so they have quite a few walls.
Yeah. And it's just going to keep going, wrapping around. I haven't gotten around to that. But I thought we didn't really have a plan. We knew we wanted to go up, but before we could actually, get a concrete plan of how high we wanted to go, based on our skill level, I really just wanted to see what it looked like compared to the Colossus. And I think we did pretty good. We got pretty high.
Yep.
Enough.
Looks pretty good, yeah.
So anyway, what else did we do? Let's go take a look at some other things.
Sure.
I know that this week, some of our villagers, I believe it was Chunk Lord, decided he wanted to make a church, which is great because we do need some help with the port area. It hasn't been really getting a lot of love recently. It's looking kind of like very dirty. So it's great. He got together, he had plans, and we said go for it, just jump in, do whatever you want for it. And I think Pekka, our other villager, decided he was going to help, and they got it done in like a night. So here's the church area. Looks pretty sweet. I don't think they've done anything inside, but
Yeah,
they
we
did
need to
construct a big church area.
interior designing is needed.
Perfect
But,
location, looks nice. It is definitely great to see an extra building on the port area and to see it finally sort of fleshing out.
Look at this.
A spider. Alright, so as Adam kills a spider, there's one more change to the village area that I haven't finished it yet. And it's one that we actually passed back there. Now when we bought this deed, it came with one house on the property.
It's hitting you, by the way.
Oh, it is. You
So
might
let's
want to
run away. Run away. I, for some odd
sure
reason, couldn't hit it.
we can get some of the guards on it. Alright, so I might have to get healed. But while we talk about it, it came with this one house, and every single episode when you see us going through, you see this house and it doesn't have a roof and it kind of looks like a mess because we were storing all of our stuff in that house before the castle was done. And just we knew we were going to destroy this house because we really didn't need it so large. So I finally got all of our stuff out, at least all the stuff we needed, and kind of compacted into a smaller version of the house, and then finally got around to destroying the house and building a little treasury, I called it, so that we could, I think we have a trader in there and we have a couple other things. But really, it's just a little storage hut that we need to have down at the port. And I also wanted to see what it would look like to have kind of like a castle-y feel of a 3x3 area. I think it came out okay. I still got to finish it off a little bit. You can definitely see the seams here. I didn't realize that before. The stone parapet and the walls don't exactly match up perfectly, so you see kind of like a line, a definitive line between them. It's not.
I
so
never
much on
noticed
this
that
side.
before, but when you told me, you could definitely see it. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah, what can you do? But that's
Maybe
another change.
Before we had that change, this house was quite a lot bigger than we needed it to be.
Much larger.
Yeah, so I like it. I mean, it's a good. You can actually see the dormitory behind there. So
Yeah, it's why I put the dorms behind there, because we knew at one point we were going to destroy this house. So we finally did it. Now you can see the dorms. Oh yeah, another change since last week. We got a new member who is temporarily going to stay with us on the dorm. It's pretty much exactly what we made the dorms for. A person that wants to join our village for a safe place for maybe, a couple weeks, a month, 2 months, just a short amount of time, with the intention of eventually going off on their own with the new skills and knowledge of the game and to build their own place. So, and that's exactly what he intends to do, which I think is perfect. It's perfect for the dormitory. So we can all say hello to Faeran, I think.
nice. Very
On
new.
the house. Faeran. There you go. Hopefully I'm
There's
saying
one
that.
thing that I wanted to check out here. I know there's been some work done on some of these houses in some of this area.
That's right. You got Pekka's house here.
Yeah.
Chonk and his many horses. Wow, he has a lot of
Yeah.
horses now.
Yeah, he
Pigs.
does. Pigs. Chunks asked me to destroy his stables. It looks like he just replaced it with a fenced off area. And Scarbone. Haven't seen much progress there, but
Comes on, he
Since-
does his farm.
yep. The farm's looking
But
good.
It looks nice. And of
Yeah,
course, this side. Still looking like grass.
the way it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll have to talk to who owns this place again,
That
Delta
would be
Storm.
Delta Craft.
or Delta Craft. Yeah, so some villagers have expressed concern.
Yeah, I think that we
They
might
just
have a
want a
vacancy.
play. They just want somebody to play with.
Somebody will be on and hang out with, for sure.
Anyway, so hopefully Delta Craft is doing okay still, and we haven't seen him for a little while. So what have we done in the castle? Not much since last week, since we built it up, and I realized that I don't have the skill to actually do it.
But we did realize that your skill is getting there. It's close. Like, it's doable. So
I need 90 masonry, and I have 86, and I only have one 90 skill like I've ever gotten. So to get a second one, that would take a while. So I don't know exactly what we'll do. If we have to lower this by 1, I could do 9.
Wait, let's not lower it by 1.
You just want me
Just-
to grind masonry up to 90. don't
Grind
you?
out that last 4 skills. That should be your main goal.
Anyway, so
Oh, we should go the other way, shouldn't we?
that is our update, I believe. That's all the
That was
changes.
There's one other thing, I think. One small thing.
There is?
Do you want to show the new stations? They're still a work in progress.
Oh, I also finished all the marble floors in here.
That's
I was
right.
really trying to get 49. I was really trying to get 49
Paving.
paving. That's right. Thank you. And I
Mhm.
couldn't. I didn't know what to do, so I did marble, and it did get me up, but not quite. I had like 48. So I came here and I started paving these floors because I know I'm eventually going to have to do stone floors, and I realized that stone floors give me a lot more experience than marble at the moment.
Hmm.
So if you're out there and you've got around 40-ish paving and you're like, I'm going to try to do marble floors, if you have access to a lot of marble, because you feel like it might give you more experience, yeah, it doesn't. Stone floors give so much more experience
Mhm.
for this level.
Yeah, and you were saying you got a lot of experience. I'm like, wow, it's not very much floors that you did.
Yeah, look at this. For just these, I got level 49 and level 50.
Nice.
I got 2 skill ups just from this little bit.
Nice. So this is going to be the new another workstation, right? Like a couple.
This will be the big ones for going to be for my carpentry,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess fine carpentry because they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
And then the one over there will be if I ever decide to do leatherworking.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe one day, or
A
somebody
leather
will decide.
workstation. Looks like it'd be a good place over here for a cloth tailoring station if we ever
Yeah,
need one.
And at some point, we'll have to put all of our bulk goods and that sort of thing, maybe building materials or something somewhere. So
Yeah.
we have the room, so I'll have to pick a spot. But mainly what I'm trying to do is build hallways and make it look like a big castle. I want it to actually look like a castle and not like giant rooms that are
That's
just
right.
all over the
Hallways
place.
with individual rooms would be nice. Yeah. And I can see like that you've set down the framework, so there'll be hallways and
Yeah. Trying to make it make sense
yeah.
in certain buildings. I haven't gone through every building yet because we do have 7 of them, but
Mhm.
I've gone through a bunch of them. I know with your area you want it a lot more open,
Yeah.
so
I
that's
wanted
why
to.
in here with your station it's just like there's no walls. It's just giant and open.
Yeah. This
To
will be
your
the
forge
smith
area.
smithery. Like we could have like a pathway, like a different floor where we are right now, like across here. But you know, I like open. I really like having my station outdoors, really. But unfortunately, we've had issues with that in the past. So I think we're gonna just have to deal with it being on the inside. But tall ceilings and open room is
You
sort of
want
our
it to
goals
feel
for that.
like you're outside while not being outside.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's a station that you made,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of like, I don't know, maybe you can explain what it is.
It's still kind of a work in progress. A lot of like, it's like rough around the edges right now, but the idea is that this will be the priest station.
A
A place where
priest
you
station.
stand and do all the priestly things, if that's a word. Probably not.
Which, yeah, so you design this, or you're designing it in a way that would benefit you.
That's
And
right.
your
That makes it
priest.
easy. That makes it easy. I can sort of just stand in one spot and don't have to move. Um, the one thing that I feel that I need, and I've grown to need, is this large cart that's sitting there in the back there. There's no container quite like the large cart, and if there was, I would use it.
It's true. While building this area, we went through every single possibility of what
Yeah.
you could have here, trying to figure out a better solution than just having a large cart here.
Like I promise you, we've thought of everything. Like I wish like coffins was one option, but I would probably need about 8 coffins to fit the need of
Look at-
one large cart.
If we just take a small look at how much is in here, you've got chests, you have just bowls and
Yeah, it's kind of a mess in there, but it's an organized
water
mess.
skins with lots of gems on there.
It kind of looks like my desk at work.
Satchels, rafts. Yeah, with these rafts and all these containers, you can fit a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll have to understand in a bit. I know some people can see. I am currently not on my character, if you haven't noticed yet. I am on Adam's Priest, which is a little different. And this is a perfect place to start talking about the priesthood. I guess really the first question is, what is a priest exactly in this game?
Yeah, a priest is anybody can become a priest. It's sort of a alternative path that you can take to just the normal leveling and normal skilling up. There are quite a few restrictions, but there are quite a few benefits as well. So, I guess in short, a priest is a character that has the ability to cast spells. Some of them are very powerful spells, some of them are very advantageous. But you do have to give up quite a bit, so I don't know. It's hard to explain really without giving away a lot of the details. It's a commitment for sure. It's one of those things where you have to be the type of character to stick it out and really grind those skills to be successful at a priest.
Well, I mean, what are the benefits? Why would I want to become a priest anyway?
Well, the main reason is the spells. If you look up on the wiki at any of the deities that you can follow, you'll see the list of spells that you can cast. I think one of the most sought after priests is the Vynoran Priest, because they can enchant all of your tools and weapons and make them faster, gain more skill, and do more damage. But the other priests do have some pretty good stuff going on for them too. So
maybe we should quickly talk about them. I do have a list here, so I'm gonna list the different types of priests, and you're gonna tell me the advantage of that priest.
Okay, go for it.
Faux priest.
Okay, so the faux priest can enchant mailboxes, and
What does that do?
Oh yeah, so yeah, that actually makes them work. So you can't just make a mailbox and send mail through it. You have to have a faux priest cast a spell on
It's
it.
like enchanted, I guess. Yeah.
They also have something that protects them from getting hit by animals. So they're one of the only ones that are able to ride hell horses without getting damaged.
Nice.
They have a spell that allows you to. I think there's a lot of spells related to farming, and you can grow trees and stuff, and also like take care of your animals with spells. Is it they groom all of the animals? I don't remember. There's like one spell that just like
There's
covers
one here, if I look it up, called Genesis.
Genesis, that's the one.
And it says that it will actually cure the animal of like
Disease,
or deformed, like bad traits.
Negative bad traits. Oh yeah, that's the one. I'm thinking
awesome.
of a different one. One where it's either you groom them all or you feed them all in one spell. I don't know.
So they sound like the farming priest or something.
They are a farming priest. Their main attribute, their main attribute is soul depth, and that's the characteristic that will help them cast their spells better.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another spell that they do that is sought after. It's life transfer. It's a spell that you cast on weapons.
Ooh, that's a different.
So when you hit with that weapon, it heals you or cure. It heals some of your wounds, I guess.
It's like a life tap.
It's like a life tap.
Ooh.
Yeah, life tap from EQ.
Yeah, for all you EQ people, veterans out there.
Yeah.
So it heals you. It heals you while you hit them.
Now, the one thing that makes it really hard for a faux priest to cast that spell is not only do you need high channeling, and high soul depth, you also need to link with another priest. So you can't just cast it on your own because the amount of favor, which is basically your mana pool in another game. So in this game, it's your favor pool. You would need more than the maximum favor you can have. I think it's 120 to cast life transfer.
Oh, and you can only get 100.
Yeah, you can only get 100, yeah, like all other skills.
So you have to like link two priests, I guess two foe priests together to just able to cast it once.
Yeah, linking is an interesting thing. I've never seen it in another game where two priests can come together. They have to be the same deity, so in this case, both would have to be a foe priest. And the one who is not casting the spell would link themselves to the other, essentially providing the other with their mana pool. So you would add together the mana. I think there's a condition though. You need together, if you added up the favor that both priests have, you have to have 10 more than the spell you're about to cast. It also makes casting a little bit more difficult, increases the difficulty of the cast, so it makes life transfer a very valuable cast.
So, if you guys haven't noticed yet, this is more of an advanced type episode where there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of technical stuff. This is not for the beginner. If you're watching this and this is one of our first videos that you're watching and you're kind of new to the game, don't watch it because you'll probably get bored.
Although one of our villagers who was relatively new at the time was overhearing like a chat conversation that I was having with somebody else related to priests, and we were saying a whole bunch of stuff that was completely going over their heads, but they kept saying, "This is extremely interesting. I feel like I'm learning a lot, except for I still don't understand what you're talking about." So I think that he really enjoyed listening to it. But so yeah, maybe
I had no idea what you were talking about at the same time.
It incited some curiosity because I think now they're thinking of starting a priest because of just the interest.
Yeah, it's always been that thing that you don't quite understand. It's very hard to understand or know because not everyone can do it. Next, we're going to talk about, I was listing off priests, I think.
Yep,
the
right.
Magrenon Priest.
Magrenon Priest is, some call it the Battle Priest. So but really all the priests can do battle. The Magrenon Priest has some spells that are very conducive to battle. But they're the one priest that you can still mine with, so a lot of people like that. And in fact, one of their main spells is to collapse a mine tile, so a mine opening or whatever, which is very sought after.
Very hard to do.
It's hard. I mean, if you've created an error in your mine, then you need a Magrenon Priest to come fix it. I've seen some mines that go like right into water, so you can't bring a cart in there. And so a mag priest can come in there and collapse that tile, and you can redo it. I mean, another benefit of that particular spell is that, let's say you're farming stone, so you want to make a ton of bricks. You can just mine out a big room, and then the mag priest can come in and just fill it back in, and you can mine it out again. I think that's the main spell that Magrenon priests are known for. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked in too much detail. Maybe I'll pull up the wiki here, but a lot of the other spells are mostly personal spells, like you wouldn't be going to sell your services with the other spells. But I have heard that this is the priest that you would want to be if you want to go over to Chaos and do PvP, or when you're on Epic. Mag priests are pretty strong from what I hear.
Yeah, and we're basically coming from the PvE side of things. I think most people that watch us on a regular basis realize that. So we're not coming from a PvP side. There's a lot of combat spells that each priest has, and a lot of things that they can do that we never use because we're on the PvE server. We don't need to use them, really.
Yeah.
So,
Here's one, increases attack and movement speed. That obviously is a PvP. Um, they can there is one spell that they can do. They cast on armor. It's called Aura of Shared Pain, and it's essentially a thorns from EQ. It's like
oh,
when the creature hurts you or hits you, then it pretty much hits them back.
that's not bad.
Is that what it was called? Thorns? I don't
It's
know.
been so long. It's
Yeah.
very hard to tell. Uh, all right, so that is the foe and Magrenon, and I know
Yep.
you were talking that Magrenon's the only priest that can mine,
That's right.
and we forgot to mention that a foe priest is the only
Okay.
one that can farm. Actually, that's not
No.
true, is it? Mag,
All
you
of
can
them.
also.
Yeah, all of them you
All
can
of them you
farm.
can farm. You're
I
right.
think you mean dig.
Except one. Dig, that's right. Foe priest is the only one that can dig.
That's right.
Sorry. All right, so there are a total of 4 priests. I should have mentioned that before.
Hmm.
We've talked about 2. Let's talk about the third one, Vynora Priest.
Yeah, so the Vynora Priest, again, everybody seems to want to go Vynoran because they have 2 particular spells that everybody wants, and that is Wind of Ages and Circle of Cunning. If you're going to use any tool whatsoever, and for any purpose, you would want one or both of these spells casted on them. So these are very high demand. When you use the tool, those spells like deteriorate, so they're constantly in demand because people need refreshes on them.
So when you cast something on them, and I don't know if you have any items on here that have them cast on it.
Probably in one of the rafts.
Yeah, so you see, I know you rename them.
Mm-hmm. That keeps
But
track of them.
if you cast an enchant on an item, note, and if you're kind of new to the game, that you don't have, it doesn't have to have this like number next to it. That's like Adam naming it after the fact. You actually have to examine it, and then you look down here, it says Wind of Ages has been cast on it, and it'll be quicker, and then it gives you a number. What does that number mean?
The number is a number that's between, I guess it could be as low as 0 and as high as about 103. I think it's hard to say for certain, but I'm pretty sure that it's something like a percentage increase in terms of how fast the item goes. So what is it exactly that you're looking at right there? I can't quite see. It's too
just
small.
a spindle.
So a spindle. So spindle's used for turning cotton into string, and your action timer to do that would be decreased by a certain amount. I think that if the Wind of Ages is exactly 100, then the speed, or your action timer is exactly half. I don't know if that helps.
I don't know. Maybe some math people out there will understand what you're saying. But
I've seen if this might help even more. I've seen Wind of Ages of 50. The time it takes is cut by a quarter. So if it took 10 seconds to do it before, a Wind of Ages of 50 will take 7.5 seconds, and a Wind of Ages of 100 will take 5 seconds. So
okay.
you work out sort of how that.
Okay. So essentially, this number is everything that any of the priests cast for some kind of enchant of any kind always gets this number, and this number is like the power, the amount of power that a certain enchant has.
Yeah.
A lot of them decay, and some of them don't on
Oh, that's
specific
right.
items. But
Some of
there's
them-
just too many to list. There's so many. If you want to list a couple of them, notable ones that do decay and don't decay.
Okay, well, let's do the ones that don't decay because those are kind of the important ones and fewer. I think as a rule of thumb, anything that does not have an action timer associated with it does not decay. So weapons will not decay because you don't use it with an action timer. Um, Horseshoes won't decay. Um, One that does have an action timer but won't decay is a meditation rug. So COC on a meditation rug will always be there forever.
That's pretty nice to know.
Uh, I'm not sure if Aura of Shared Pain on armor decays. I don't think so either because that doesn't have an action timer.
Maybe somebody more versed than us can let us know.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's most of them. Everything else will decay. So pickaxes, hammers, anything
Okay.
that you use and has an action timer, the enchants will decay on those.
Now we've gotten through 3 priests. There's only one more. Talk to us a little bit about the Libella Priest.
Libella Priest, yeah.
I don't
This is
even
a
know if I'm
priest
saying
that
that right.
when we started playing, Libella was not in Freedom Cluster. We had joined just after Chaos turned Chaos.
Hmm.
And I think they just returned recently, the Libella Priests.
Yeah. So we don't really know much
We don't
about
know
them.
much about them. We know that they cast a spell that is a single spell that is a combination of Wind of Ages and Circle of Cunning. So I
That's
can't
pretty
even remember what
sweet.
it's called. Dark something. Anyway, not sure. I know that they're pretty powerful and that they have to be because on Chaos it seems like uh, the light priests of the other three, Magrenon, Foe, and Vynora, sort of are all on one side, and Libella is alone on the dark side or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of
And
unbalanced, isn't it?
it's unbalanced, but at the same time, they balance it by making Libella that much stronger.
So you should
So
just do that. You can have, I don't know.
it's a factional thing too. You have to join the Horde of the Summoned. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
Well, if anybody wants more information on these 4 priests, because there's a lot more, you can
a
always
lot.
go to the wiki and just type in priests. If I just look at this page, this comparison table of all the 4 priests, it looks like the Foe priests can dig, the Libella priests can chop wood and mine. The Magrenon priest can only
Mm.
mine. The Venorum priest can only chop wood. They can also pave. And there's this big chart of what you can and can't do. So I guess
Mhm.
that's why. I mean, there's all this stuff that you can't do that's listed here. What's not listed here that you also can't do as a priest?
Yeah.
Like, why shouldn't I become a priest? Wouldn't I want to become a priest? I can become a priest, cast all these spells, and I can also go and, become a carpenter and do all the other stuff. Why wouldn't I do that?
I guess the reality is that you can't do what you're saying, uh, and it does seem like I remember when we first started, we were like, let's just become priests, and we become Uber, and but there are quite a few sacrifices that you need to make when you become a priest. It's it's almost set up so that you cannot only be a priest. It's really hard to. Um, the main limitation, besides all the ones that you're talking about, is that you cannot improve any item.
So I'm not allowed to actually imp my own items at all.
It's a huge, huge limitation on priests. That's the big one. If that one was lifted, everybody, I almost guarantee you, everyone would become a priest. But it's you cannot improve any item. That pretty much makes it so that uh, you cannot you can't improve your tools. You cannot grind any skills because, as we said before, the best way to grind any skill is to improve items. Um, you can't improve the walls or fences or anything in your house or in your town. Um, One thing that I'm pretty sure that you can do though is you can start them. You can create items, but but you can't add components to items. So like let's say you can put a shaft and a hammerhead together. You can create a hammerhead and put it together and create a hammer with no restriction, but you just can't improve that hammer. So it always leaves it at a low quality. But you can start making a fence plan, but you can't add any components to the fence, or you can't add any components to an unfinished cart, let's say, for example.
So you pretty much can't build anything as a priest.
Building is
Wow.
out of the question.
So they just
Improving, out of the question.
So this is why they made it so almost you have to have your main character, and you also have to have a priest character. You need two
Now,
characters.
that's not always the case. I know some people who made their main a priest, but you almost have to rely on other people. You have to become a part of a village and rely on other people to make tools for you and make the items. Like, I mean, let's say you're a Vynoran priest and you're on your own. I'm great. You can enchant things with Wind of Ages and COC, but where are you going to get these items? They're so you need to rely on other people. Again, this is the main reason why people make priests as alts. So your main character does all the crafting and imping, and your priest will do all the casting.
All right. Well, now that we know that's a big limitation, right?
Huge, yeah.
So let's say I don't care about that. I got a character. I want it to become a priest.
Hmm.
Is there anything that I need to do, before I become a priest?
Careful planning is extremely important when you decide, yes, I'm going to become a priest. I mean, you're going to create that character, and they're going to come into the world and be completely noobish. There's a order of things that you need to make sure that you consider. First of all, I think that a lot of people would disagree with this, but I think, in my opinion, you would want ultimately your character to be able to ride a horse. And the main problem is that once a priest becomes a priest, because they can't imp anything, their ability to gain body control, which is that skill that allows you to ride a horse, becomes extremely limited. It's very difficult to get body control without imping something. So my recommendation is to get your body control to a level that allows you to ride a horse before becoming a priest.
Okay, and that's body control of 21, which is something that we mentioned in the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think we've also mentioned how to get it to 21 before in the newbie tips and tricks episode. So you can go back there to see our recommendations there. There's one other that I'd say for sure you should do, and that is to get your digging to 10.
How come?
Unless you're going to become a foe priest, because foe can dig. But once you become Vynoran or Magredon or Libella, was Libella able to dig? I can't remember. Magredon, Vynora for sure. Okay, yeah. So you can't dig, and digging a skill of 10 in digging allows you to plant signs, and I think lamps. Could be wrong, but for sure signs. And if you don't have that digging of 10, then you can't plant a sign. And
it's a big one.
I mean, it's a big one in the sense that signs can only be planted off deed once every 24 hours, which is a limitation. So this just allows you to have that extra character to plant a sign or plant lamps off deed.
All right, so
It's
just those two limitations?
Um,
Or just those two things that you should do?
I don't know. Can you think of another one that you might need to do before becoming a priest?
If you're a Magredon, something that I think you should do is not just get your digging to 10, but get your digging to, I believe it's 15. You get your digging to the point where you can see on your mouse,
That's right.
when you mouse over a tile border, how steep a tile is. Because if you don't, you could be mining, surface mining,
surface mining is where
And
it'll come into play.
you can't tell how steep something is.
Mhm.
You would have to examine it.
It's so strange. Like digging is the skill that allows you to see the steepness of rock when you're mining the surface, and
feel
it's
like
not your mining skill.
It
I
should
feel
be
like it should be
mining.
your mining skill, but
What can you do?
that's neither here nor there.
All right, so I think that's it. Is there anything else?
There is one more, and it is if you're going to become a faux priest or a Vynoran priest, and possibly a Libela. Again, I don't know too much about that. If you are going to be a priest and that's your main, then you should also skill up something that allows you to gain favor. Now, this is something we'll talk about later, but the main ones are pretty much cloth tailoring, locksmithing, and toy making.
You said rope making, locks.
Oh, rope making.
Rope
Rope
making.
making is what I'm missing. Yeah, and rope making. So, one of those you should skill up, and mostly because skilling up is easily done by imping something. So, for example, if you improve cloth tailoring, you can just if you're skilling up cloth tailoring, you can just improve like gloves or rugs or something like that, and get it to a good level first. It might take a while to do, but it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, that would take a long time. But I don't know. I guess if you want to be a self-sufficient priest, be able to get your own favor. I mean, that's essentially why you would want to do it. Like, that you can take those items and you can sacrifice them to your god. And what does that do? That gives your character favor. It's something that you haven't talked about. Before we get even there, how do you become a priest? What's the quick explanation to how you become a priest?
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about that. So let's say you've gotten your skills to where you want to be and you want to become a priest. You would first seek out somebody who is either a follower or a priest of the deity that you want to follow, because you need to be converted to that deity. Once you are converted, so they'll know how to do it, you just stand in front of them and they click on you and stuff. You're converted, then you become a follower of that deity. So like let's just pick Vynora for the sake of an example. So you find a follower of Vynora or a priest of Vynora, and you ask them to convert you to Vynora. I think that there's a requirement that you have to have an alignment that's greater than 0, and there's one more requirement. Body strength of 20.
Oh, something like that.
I don't know.
So
something.
You're just saying the short answer is you want to become a priest, then you find someone who already is a priest of the priesthood that you want to follow, and you just ask them, priest me.
But it's not quite priest me yet. It's make me a follower.
Make me
You
a
have to become
follower.
That's
Then
right.
you sit
Now,
there and you have to go to an altar.
Well, my recommendation is that everybody should become a follower, whether you want to be a priest or not, because followers don't have the restrictions of priests, and it allows you to sacrifice items, rare items, for refresh.
And it's something we've talked about many, many times on many, many other episodes. So if you want to be a priest, hopefully you're already a follower, and hopefully you already have gone to altars. So you would have altars that are all over the place. We'll have to talk a little bit about what exactly is an altar. How do you make one, that sort of thing. Basically, you have to create an altar. There's different ways. You can go look up altars on the wiki. Once it's created, at least the gold and silver, they have to be blessed by a priest. And once they're blessed, it'll say gold altar of Vynora, like this one. And you just have to go there and pray. You can pray once every how long?
So every 20 minutes, you will get a skill gain, and it's guaranteed. So you log on for the first time of the day, you pray, you get a skill gain. And then 20 minutes later, you pray again, you'll get another skill gain for sure. Up to 5 times per day. So you should be doing this as a follower. You get as high skill gain, high faith as you need to. I think you need 10 at least to sacrifice items, but you can go all the way up to 30. as a follower.
This is the perfect time to also bring up, and we brought this up in the meditation episode, our tips and trick of opening up that timer window. Timers.
That's right. So
did that work? That did not work. No, here it is. So over here, I can right click, add a timer. I can name it prayer.
Prayer, yeah.
And I can set it up for 20 minutes. And there it is right there. And I can always right click it and start it when I need it. And then I'll know when to pray next.
That's right.
Perfect. I know stone and wood altars, they have to be created by the follower or by a priest of whatever god you're trying to follow. So
yeah,
once
so like,
you
let's say you're a follower of like Vynora and you create a stone altar, I'm pretty sure that it pops out as an altar of Vynora
right away.
Yeah, you don't need to bless it.
That's right. So let's say you need level 30, you said. As a follower, you can't get more faith than 30. Once you reach 30, how do you become a priest now? How do you switch from a follower?
You need to have 30 faith, so if you want to become a priest, you gotta get that faith right up.
You've gone all the way up to 30.
It takes about 3 days. And from what I found, like when I
3 days
made
to
my
get
priest,
30 faith?
About maybe 4 days, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Wouldn't it be a lot more if you can only do 5 casts a day?
Yeah, maybe it's 4 days. All I know is that in the first day you can easily get to 10. Anyway, besides the point. Okay, the point is that while you're doing that,
but keep going.
While you're doing that, you can be skilling up your body control. So you have time. Become a follower right away. Start praying every day, and get your body control up at the same time. By the time that you're ready to become a priest, your body control should be 21, and you can ride a horse. Then you ask a priest, somebody, this time it has to be a priest, not a follower, to convert you to become a priest. And again, it's something where you just sort of stand there and they click on you and you become a priest.
That's it?
That's it. Once you're a priest, you're a priest. And then you go and pray again and start gaining your faith up. Now remember, faith is like your maximum amount of mana. I'm using this word mana because I guess everybody can relate. So faith is like your maximum amount of mana, whereas favor is the amount of mana that you have currently.
Okay, so you're saying I become a priest. I get this whole religion skill tab here. So the faith is how much faith I have.
No. The favor is about how much.
Favor is how much of the faith. The faith is the maximum amount of mana that I can get. Then
now, if you take a look at your health bar, right at the bottom there's a purple.
That's right. This new purple thing that's not on my character. So that's my mana bar, basically. That's my favorite bar.
I hate using the word mana because it's not what is used in this game, but it's, I think, what everybody can sort of relate to.
I mean, this entire time, I haven't regened all of my favor.
Yeah.
And we've been on for almost like an hour or something.
I feel like people have a very high misconception about this whole thing about priests and how it works and how difficult it really is to do the things that priests do. Favor is slow. Like any spell that is worth casting is at least 50, if not more, favor to cast. And to get to 50 from 0, it's at least an hour, if not more.
All right, so a few more questions that I have. One, now that I'm a priest, can I just cast my spells? Like, I guess, how do I get my spells?
Good question.
What's the process? Is it just favor, and all I have to do is keep praying, gain faith. The higher the faith, then it just unlocks the spells for me.
So, not really, actually. It's kind of interesting. The moment you become a priest, you have all of the spells.
I instantly get all the spells. Sweet. So why
Every
don't everyone do that? That's like, we're done.
The one problem is that there's a minimum amount of favor that you need to cast each spell.
So it's almost
So,
like
for
you get all
example-
the recipes first, but you
That's
don't
right.
have the faith or the favor to cast them yet.
That's right. So Wind of Ages takes 50 favor to cast, but you only have 30 faith off the bat. So there's no possible way that you're going to be able to cast it. So you have to keep praying and praying and praying, get that faith up. Sermons are a way of getting that faith up. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But get that faith up to 50, and then you can start casting Wind of Ages.
I see. So
Now, yeah.
okay, so I get my favor up. I can cast Wind of Ages.
Yeah.
So now,
really.
not really.
I would highly recommend against. Favor is not the only thing that
So-
will determine whether or not you're
Yeah,
successful.
this is
at
what you
casting.
did. You got to 50 favor. You're like, sweet. I am going to cast Wind of Ages on my pickaxe. So you go and you cast Wind of Ages on the pickaxe, and
And the first thing that's going to happen is your pickaxe is going to be destroyed. That's the first thing that's going to happen.
so then you get another pickaxe and you cast on it. It's like
And-
6 Wind
yeah,
of Ages.
6 Wind of Ages, or
Wind of Ages
or
power of 6.
You'll possibly fail 5 or 6 times in a row before getting that 6.
And every time you drain all of your 50 favor and you wait, and it takes like how long before that favor regens?
About an hour.
Yeah, so it's like an hour for every time you can cast this thing.
Yeah.
So why is it doing this? What's the explanation?
The main reason is because the power of the cast that you land is completely dependent on the skills that you have. The skills that you're looking for, specifically with Vynoran, are your soul depth and your channeling. These will... I've heard countless different interpretations of how it works, but from my experience and the way that I feel that it works, is that channeling, the higher the channeling you have, the more success rate you will have at landing the cast successfully. Like, yes, you made the cast as opposed to shattering it or damaging it or just
I
failing
see.
outright, which are actually 3 different options that can happen. You could shatter it so it destroys, you can damage it, or you can completely fail whatsoever, or there's a very slight chance that you'll actually land the cast at the beginning. Okay, so as you increase channeling, then the fact that like actually landing that cast successfully, it becomes a higher chance.
I see.
Soul depth will dictate how strong of a cast that lands. So the higher the soul depth, the higher the chance that you have of landing a higher cast.
Now we're just talking specifically about Vynora Priest, which
Vynora
their
Priest.
2 main skills, you're saying, are
Soul depth
soul
and
depth
channeling.
and channeling. So
Well,
if I sum this up,
well, before you say that, faux priests work exactly the same way. Channeling and soul depth. And Magrodon priests are channeling as well and soul strength. So slightly different.
so each priest just has 2 different skills. Is there any place that you can look that up? It's probably somewhere. I don't know.
Somewhere in the wiki, probably. You'd have
But
to look at a priest
If you
guide.
can't find the wiki, then we are saying that Vynora Priest is soul depth and channeling. So every priest seems to have 2. Soul depth
Yeah.
and channeling. Magrodon Priest is also channeling with soul strength, you were saying.
Mhm.
And I think you know at least faux priests are what? Channeling. They're all channeling in something.
And soul depth, it's the same.
And soul depth.
Faux and Vynoran are pretty much the same.
Okay, so that's not too complicated. I don't know the other one. The Libla. No idea. Maybe somebody can
No idea.
list. So the bottom line. You were
Once you
saying
become a priest,
channeling. So you're saying channeling. So here's the
yeah.
sums of is how successful you are at casting is your success chance of casting.
Yeah.
So you could, if you have low channeling, you could destroy your item. You could
You most likely will destroy it.
fail at casting, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what channeling does. And soul depth, you're saying, will increase the power of your cast.
Yeah.
So the higher soul depth. And soul depth is one of the body characteristics. And as we all know about body characteristics, they are slow.
Slow is completely right.
So on top of that, I get high. Let's say you're a Vynora Priest. You get high channeling. You work so hard on getting high channeling. You work so hard on high soul depth. Now I'm going to cast on my pickaxe. And I first cast on it. And it comes out at like 20 Wind of Ages. Like, why?
Well, so you're talking about like you already have a high skill?
Yeah.
Like here.
So
why don't you have some favor? Why don't you pick up an item from my cart?
All right.
I always
so
have
I've been
some
regenning favor. So let's see. Adam, Priest here has some high favor. What should we cast on?
So like I always in the bottom raft open up that one. Pick out, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I have something of everything.
What do we need? I know somebody
There's a shovel there.
requested some leather items. Nightshade requested some leather items. I don't think I mentioned that yet.
Leather items.
Unfortunately, leather tools. Unfortunately, that's the one thing you don't have any of.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't have any.
I
might have to make some of those.
So shovels, everything's cast on almost.
Pick out the shovel that has like 2.
Okay.
Yep, there you go.
There's a shovel. So in order to cast, I don't know if this works for the same way for every priest. You need to get a statue.
Yeah,
and we have
works
a statue.
The same way for every priest.
So we activate the statue.
This is like the tool of the priest.
The tool of the priest is a statue. I right-click the statue, or right-click the shovel, and the spells. Yep. Here's all your spells.
Yep.
What are we trying to cast on this?
Do a COC. And I'll explain why while you're doing that. Spells have a certain order to them when you want to dispel them. So let's say you get like a somewhat okay spell like land, but you want to get a higher one. It's much more efficient to dispel it than to recast over it. We might see it happen a little bit. Oh, you look pleased.
So it has improved the cast. Now, I think the point that we're trying to get at here is that casting any of these spells, like the spells that give power, is sort of just like a roll of the dice no matter what. You are improving your chance with getting your channeling up, with getting your soul depth up. But it's still like playing the lottery. It's still like, every single time it's a complete roll of the dice, and you could get a really crappy roll, you could get a really good roll.
Yeah, I don't want to discourage anybody from becoming a priest, but I've worked very hard on getting my skills. I'm not nearly as good as some of the best priests out there, but I have pretty decent skills.
Let's look. Your skills is 80 channeling. You got 80.7 channeling, which is pretty high. And your soul depth here is 40.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. That's not too shabby.
I've worked pretty hard to get them to decent levels. I've seen priests that are like 90 plus channeling and 70 soul depth.
All right, you ready?
I'm not joking.
You ready to see what you got? Here we go.
All right, here we go.
14.
Nice.
So we just wasted all of the favor that I just gained this entire episode, and we went from 2 to 14.
That 2 casts I actually got pretty recently too. So zeros happen fairly often too, like more often than you might imagine.
Yeah, so
Like
I
it
can't.
is.
Like, there's no way that we're gonna be able to cast another before the end of this episode. So this
Yeah,
entire episode, we managed to get a 14 cast.
yeah.
All right. The last thing that I want to know is how do I get channeling up?
hmm Um, so when you first become a priest, if you are Vynoran, so I'm specifically talking about Vynoran priests, what you want to do is start blessing everything you possibly can see. Every item in your inventory, every item that is everywhere. You
Mm-hmm.
right click it and you bless it. It costs 10 favor to cast. 10 favor would take exactly 2 minutes to regain. So every 2 minutes you can cast bless. And you bless everything until your channeling is about 10. I've heard of people going up to 15. Um, it's not really that fun to go up to 15. Once you get there, then you're going to be casting a spell called Opulence. Now, Opulence can only be casted on food.
So what's your strategy for that?
Make a whole bunch of food, which is good for your hot food cooking. It's also good for soul death.
I also heard that
Okay.
you can just cast it on vegetables.
Yeah, you can cast it on uncooked food.
I
But
mean, one thing that
Opulence,
I
sorry.
like the strategy that I found was that you cast on vegetables and then you put those vegetables back into a food storage bin, and when you
Yeah.
do that, it eliminates the cast completely. You take it back out and you can do it again, over and over and over again.
Now, I want to warn you that you'll probably be getting a lot of high opulence casts, like 86, 95 opulence, like all over the place. And it might give you that false sense of that that if you start doing Wind of Ages, that you're going to start getting these kind of casts as well. Um, yeah,
It doesn't work that way.
no. Wind of Ages and COC, these are higher difficulty casts. Opulence, I think, is a difficulty of 10, whereas the other two are a difficulty of 60. So it's like 6 times more difficult. Um,
Wow.
you
Uh,
want to do opulence is a 10 favor cast as well, so every 2 minutes. And you want to do this. Some people might even say keep doing it until about 40.
I see.
Now, I really
That's
was
pretty high.
impatient. I was really impatient, and we were kind of rich-ish. And I ran into.
You just wanted to spend all of our money. That's all it was.
It was partly that. It was also just partly I was impatient, and a lot of people are. So if you're impatient and have means, then the next thing that you're going to be wanting to do is vesseling gems. So you want to get your hands on as many gems as possible.
And that's why you have all those gems?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why people buy gems, cuz before I never understood, like, you get gems while mining or something, but never use them.
No.
Put them on
they're
the
not
ground, they look nice. But that's about it. But
They're not
you
for
buy
anything
them.
other than channeling.
That's it?
I mean, channeling is pretty much the skill that you get up whenever you cast a spell. So,
That's right. Okay.
I mean, you could potentially get your channeling up using Wind of Ages and COC cast, but they're really high favor casts. You can't really cast them that often, realistically, unless you have a lot of favor items, and we'll get to that in a second. But vesseling gems only takes 7.5 favor.
And I know you keep talking about vesseling gems. This is what you do. But for all those priests out there that want to get into vesseling gems like you, I'm sure you don't just vessel gems. I'm sure you've developed some kind of strategy. Please share that with us right now.
No, I just vessel gems.
How do you do that?
That's my strategy. Okay, so
You take some gems.
I'll separate my gems between high quality and low quality. This is a very technical thing. I'm going to just say it quickly. High quality gems, this is above 10. Whenever you vessel them, you are committing your favor to store it into that gem. Okay, so
Hmm.
it literally transfers the favor to the gem, and if you right-click the gem, you'll have the option to use it, and that will funnel that favor that you stored back into your favor pool. So, what the strategy is this: I line up all my high-quality gems, and I just favor them. It takes about a minute or just over a minute to regenerate enough favor to cast it again. I cast it the moment I get 7.5 favor. I want to put as little favor as possible in the gem, and I just go through all my gems. I'll probably have 100 or so, and I'll just go through them. When I'm done that, I'll use all my favor up, so I'm gaining the favor back from the gems, and up to about 50, and then I'll cast COC or WOA, and I'll do that over and over again. Just use up the favor, or gain back the favor, and use it up on COC and WA, which also gives me channeling. And then I repeat the process. Every time that you use a gem, it takes away some of its quality. And the moment its quality goes below 10, I separate it into a separate pile. The reason is because gems that have a quality less than 10 cannot store any favor. But instead, you just cast on them, and they lose. They don't store any favor. They lose exactly 3 quality from them, and you do not store all of your favor into them. Okay? Now, the reason why you want to only cast when you have 7.5 favor is because if your favor is really high, let's say you have 50 favor, then that entire pool of favor is going to funnel into that gem. So you'll lose the entire 50. It goes into the gem, and the gem becomes full. And when you use it, it'll fill your favor back up, completely obliterating the entire gem almost, most times. So I guess bottom line is vessel when you have 7.5 favor into the high quality gems, separate them to low quality gems, and then once you have all the low quality gems, you can just grind your favor on them really, really quickly.
There you go, priests. If you're a Vynoran priest, that is Adam's specific way, fool safe way of
Now, I've thought about this idea of using all my high quality gems and then separating the low quality ones and then selling off the low quality ones. They're very valuable, but at the same time, they are the best way to get your channeling up.
the quickest way.
It's the quickest way, because my strategy with the low quality ones is I'll fill up my favor bar, like 70, 80 favor, and I'll just cast over and over and over again. I don't have to wait between casts. So it's just too tempting, and they're too valuable, which is why you'll see people pay more for those low quality gems.
It does sound like that's what you should do. But now you're 80 channeling. You've gotten all the way up to 80 channeling. What do you do now to get your channeling up?
Exactly the same thing.
Exactly. So from 40 to 80, you just do the exact same thing. So this way of vesseling lasts for what, the rest of the time?
The rest of the time. Vessel gives me about 3 times as much channeling skill as casting COC.
Wow.
And not only that, it's faster. Like, I can cast them more often.
I guess this is why gems sell for so much, because they're a hot commodity. You need them for so many levels, channeling levels. Okay, so that's channeling. Mm-hmm. How do you get soul depth up?
I've heard people doing like farming or any of the nature skills. They'll say just do nature skills, and they'll get fishing. I've tried it all. If you wanted to go up approximately 100 times faster than any other nature skill, you do hot food cooking.
Really?
Hot food cooking is the way to go.
So this is going to sound a little weird. What is your strategy? So I can just go over there and do 10 minutes of hot food cooking and I'm set?
I started with like 100 pans.
Yeah.
And I would just fill those 100 pans with a meat and a veggie, and I would just turn on the forge. I've since expanded to 1,000 pans, and I've heard of people even going as high as 2,500 or even more
Yeah. This is
pans.
what you guys just saw me doing recently, was emptying out all of Adam's frying pans of his stew that he made.
Yeah.
Specifically made the stew for hot food, for soul depth grind. Is that right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're saying you gain a lot. So what you do is you fill up all 4 of these forges, and each forge has, you said, how many? I don't know.
250.
250 each. So a total of 1,000 pans you have here.
That's right.
Now, there is a way, or there used to be ways to get them into smaller amount, but they've gotten rid of it. So this is essentially the setup that you would have if you were doing it today.
I've heard of some people who do 10 forges and they don't use backpacks. But I'll tell you what, this is quite a bit superior to that, in my
Stand
opinion.
in one spot.
Once you have realized that there's a couple things that you can do to make it easier for you, so I'll
guys
guide you
saw it.
through this. I'll guide you through this.
Okay, so I'm
maximize
going to
the
come
screen.
here, and I'm going to take, let's make some meals.
Oh, did you butcher any? Yeah.
I
No, we need
butchered
to
whatever
butcher
was here. Oh, I didn't fillet.
Filet, that's what I meant.
So I need some cooked meat. So I'm just going to do a couple of them. I'm not going to do many.
Okay. All right. So why don't we just take a bucket, one of these barrels, and the one that's closest to you has a couple fillets in it, and let's make 100 fillets. So we'll do this together.
Well, I've got... Oh, wait, you said you had some meat?
Well, there's some meat in the food storage bin there,
All right, so I'm going to take the meat from the boot storage bin.
and together we'll just fillet this.
So I'm going
We
to
should-
take 10. I'm going to fillet a bunch. Fillet.
Okay. Now, the reason why you would fillet is because it literally triples the amount of meals that you can do
And
with one, with the meat that you use.
And it doesn't lower the amount of... It doesn't lower the amount that you can carry? Or not the
Nope.
skill that you gain?
Nope, not at all. So each cooked meat that comes out of a bulk storage bin will turn into 3 fillets. That's pretty much 3 meals.
Okay. Do the levels of the products that you put into the frying pan affect your skill gain at all?
A little bit. If you're going purely for soul depth, then you'll want the lowest difficulty meal or food stuff that you can make. So this is the reason why I do stews. Stews are a difficulty of 4 when you do it in an oven, or 14 in a forge.
I see. So how many did you want to get going? Let's do 50.
Okay,
It's a
so
good amount that we can actually achieve in this episode.
This
So
this is the way that I do it. I want to just show how I do it. So these barrels that are sitting here, I fill those up with all my fillets, and I'll make 1,000 fillets out of, I guess.
that's why you have
330.
so many barrels?
Yeah, that's why I have so many barrels. Now the reason why I like the barrels is because each one will hold 100 fillets, and that way I can sort of keep count as to where I am in terms of how many pans I've filled so
I
far.
see.
So the barrel that's closest to you, I've started putting fillets in. So if you want to put them in
Okay,
together.
so I've got enough here.
Okay. So, if you want to, what I would like you to do is simulate what I would do. So if you could
Yep.
put them in a barrel
I've
and put
got
the
them
barrel
in
in your inventory, and put the barrel sort of at the bottom of your inventory.
So I've got 70.
Yeah.
So I've got 2
Now I'm
barrels.
I'm gonna give you some strategies
I'm
here.
going to take some corn.
Okay. Yeah.
71 corn.
Oh.
Exactly.
I would normally not. I would do all the meat first. So this is how I would do it. I would fill all 4 forges completely with meat
Yeah.
first. Okay, so
Oops.
let's start with opening up the first. Open up the.
So we're just going to
Yeah.
simulate this
Okay.
in one. I'm going to do the
Yeah.
one that actually has all backpacks. I don't know why you have them all separate.
Okay.
So
So what you're doing there quickly,
Yeah.
quickly, people to see is at the top of the bar. If you right-click the name there, yeah, you hit the expand all.
And then
Hit the expand
expands
all,
it.
and then you do it one more time. It'll expand all of the frying pans. Okay. Now, you don't want to do this when there's meat in there, but when there's no meat in there, this is perfect. Okay. So now what I would do is I'd take that window and put it right to up, right to the top,
Right
and
to
then
the
to the
top,
right,
like this.
right, so it's overlapping, even a little bit more. Overlap it. Okay.
It's overlapping now.
Overlap it just a slight bit more. Trust me when I say, yeah,
Like
okay,
that.
good. Okay, yeah. Now you want to click your inventory. Good. So now you want to expand all the meat, and at the same time you want to expand your body. Go up, go
I
up.
want to expand my body. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll explain why. And expand another thing, like a backpack that has a whole bunch of stuff in
And
it.
that,
Yeah,
a
good,
backpack.
good. Yeah, good. Yeah, you want this like really long,
It
so
is
that when you
very
scroll
long
down,
now.
yeah. So now scroll down to the bottom. Once you have it open, you keep it open for the entire time. Okay, so
Okay.
now if you don't believe me that this is the best way of doing it, you can try it the other way, and you'll see why I do this. I'm not really going to explain it; it's kind of complicated, but you want it as much as possible. Now, lots of meat, good. You're perfect spot. Now, look at the first pan
Yeah.
and look at its weight. What is its weight there?
2.5.
Okay, now drag a meat into it.
It's 2.8.
2.8. Now all the rest are 2.5. Your eye should be on the weight as you drag the meat into the pan.
Should the weight be overlapping the inventory, or did I move it too far?
I usually have it overlapped
I want
so
to
that I
be
can
able to.
still see the weight. Yeah.
I want to see the weight. Okay, so I can see the weight now.
Okay, now just go and dump as many meat as you can into the frying pans. Make sure you don't double up. Keep your eye on the weight, and let's see how fast you can do it.
All right.
Yeah, that's good. That's
I
good.
missed
Keep
one.
going. You missed one? Okay, good. You went back. Yeah, that's good. I find that breathing is a very essential thing.
This is like a
to do by doing
skill.
this.
This is like an arcade game.
Arcade game, yeah. Now, the speed at which you can do this is probably about 4 times as fast as you're doing it now.
Really?
Now, yeah, one other strategy is you can lower both windows right down to the bottom. This is one thing I do.
You do this? You lower
Right
it
down,
all the way to the
all
bottom?
the way, so I have a lot more space.
Wow,
Yeah,
like over your face.
yeah,
That's
over,
great.
that's
okay,
fine.
that's fine. Oh yeah, you have a lot more space now.
A lot more space, yeah, and you just go boom, 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 like that at that speed.
I just
Yes.
doubled up. I can't do it as fast as you. All right.
Yeah, it takes a bit of practice. One other thing that might help.
Yeah.
You see at the top, the windows are exactly right next to each other. Like, I don't know, right. So if you stagger one slightly.
Like this.
Yeah, I'll have to bring
I
that
just
up. Yeah,
bring it down.
just by a half of one. So you don't want if you look at the alignment of the meat with the pan, you want them to be staggered, not exactly right on.
I see. I can
Yeah.
adjust that by.
Yeah, and this believe it or not helps with the flow. Like you'll notice as you bring the mouse if you're right-handed, if you bring the mouse to the left, you'll bring it down slightly.
You're
Just
right.
slightly, like naturally. Like keeping it straight is really hard. You naturally go down a little bit, so that will keep the flow going. The other thing to consider is the lag between the time that you click and the server lag. Like the server,
Yeah.
when you bring the meat over and you bring your mouse back, that meat may not actually have made it into the pan before you make it back and click again.
That's right.
So it's almost necessary that you click on a completely different meat than you did the first time.
There you go. I just loaded 71 meats pretty quickly. That was pretty quick.
Yeah.
So now
And
you're
you can
saying the
probably do
corn.
that. Yeah, the corn. So again, look at the what is it called? Yeah, the weight. Keep your eye on the weight. You want to make sure that all of them are what, 2.8?
2.9.
2.9. Yeah. And I frequently will scan back to make sure that you didn't miss one, but I want you to at least miss one on purpose. Miss one on purpose.
Okay, I missed one on purpose.
Okay, because I want to show you that if you miss one, it's not the end of the world. So you don't always have to keep going back. I miss them all the time. Almost every backpack, I miss at least one, and that's fine. If you miss one, I'll show you how to catch them all at the end. Okay, so
I'm not as good as you on this.
yeah, notice how you scrolled up there? You don't actually have to. Just keep going down to the bottom.
What do you mean? Keep going
Like-
down to the bottom.
Actually, you're doing that not so bad. So be mindful of when you use your mouse wheel, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to use your mouse wheel until you get to the bottom.
All right. Did it.
And then use your mouse wheel all the way.
I just loaded
71. Okay.
71.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, now notice where your corn is. Okay, well, whatever. There's a whole
Okay,
bunch
so
of
you're
little
saying
things.
I missed stuff. I
Okay.
missed one. So how do I find it in this mess? If I was doing like 1,000, how do I find?
Yeah. So at the end of filling one full forge, what I'll do is before I close it, I'll hit the weight button at the top. Yeah, that sorts everything by weight. And any of the pans that haven't been filled fully will be either at the top or the bottom.
Yeah, so
I'll
we
set it
have. We only did. So it would be at.
Yeah, I would have hit it again so that it's at the top. Or you know what I mean, like so you didn't have to scroll down. Yeah, there you go. So now it should be at the bottom.
Yeah, I missed
Yeah.
2 here.
Yeah, so you can see the 2 and you just filter the corn into the ones that you missed.
There you go.
There you go. And this makes it easy, so you don't have to worry as you're going. Did I miss one? Did I miss one? Just let it go. If you
Perfect.
feel like you missed one, just let it go. Come back to it at the end.
So if I loaded. So which one did I load? I loaded this one. Yeah, I loaded this one. So I'm now at the point. Let's say I'm at the point where I loaded all 4.
All 4.
So what would
Okay.
you do?
You need 4 kindling.
Optimize your skill gain. So you would go here, you would get your kindling, or you would make kindling. There
Yeah.
are no kindling here.
I usually have to go back to my blacksmithing area.
So you get kindling. You come
Why
over
don't
here.
why don't we do this? Simulate it. Why are you walking so slow?
I'm holding too much, I believe.
Yeah, get rid of the meat that you didn't play.
All this is really annoying. There we go. I drop that. Now I can walk. So I go and get 4 kindling.
Yeah, it's in the bulk storage bin beneath the rare forge. The rare forge, yeah. Yeah, that one right there.
I'm gonna get
Now, in this case, you only
I'm
need
one.
But
And
yeah,
that put me over the weight limit of your character.
What am I carrying? Am I carrying gems or something?
I don't know.
I must be carrying gems.
You have charcoal. If I put down the charcoal,
Sure.
there you go.
Okay.
All right. So
Now, here's the order of things.
yeah,
You want to turn on your sleep bonus.
turn on sleep bonus. Then what? I think we just lost Adam, unfortunately, because he's holding his mouth there. Oh, there you are. All I heard
there.
was, you turn on your sleep bonus. And that was it.
Okay. Turn on your sleep bonus. You have 5 minutes before you can turn it off,
That's right.
which is more than enough time that it takes to cook 1,000 meals, believe it or not. So turn on your sleep bonus and you can just like relax for like a bit. Start lighting
Done.
the forges.
Where
So in this
is
case,
your?
I
You
usually have it
hide
on
your
my,
steel and flint.
I
There
usually have
is.
it on the toolbar, so yeah.
Right click.
Right-
And
right
light.
click, light.
So when I light it, what happens? I gain the skill for every single meal all at once.
Pretty much.
So that's like a big boost. So when you do this
Yeah.
and you do 1,000, how much soul depth do you actually gain?
I did about 8 or 9 loads recently, each one gave me above 0.5 soul depth.
Wow, 0.5?
0.5.
Wow. And you're doing this like pretty fast. How long does it take you to load 1,000 pans?
I usually time it by loading and emptying, because emptying actually takes quite a bit of time. Loading and emptying, I can do it in just under an hour.
So it's like half an hour each time?
No, it's an hour.
No, I mean, to load it, it would take you a half an hour?
Actually, no. To empty it takes 15 minutes. So to load it is 45.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah. Because keep in mind, to load it, you have to fill in all the meat, and then you fill in all the veggies. But to empty it, you just need to...
All right, so I only did 70. I am going to look.
At the soul depth?
At the skills.
And look at this soul depth. Like, you have the soul depth open?
There it goes.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
And it's just like going as it's created. It's just jumping up.
Yeah, each meal created counts as an action. So you're pretty much doing 1,000 actions in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, so if you guys out there can see how much has he actually done, how many times does it take to get 40 soul depth, you can see that his hot food cooking is at 99.3.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many meals and whatever you've created
so only
in order to get 40 soul depth.
Only about 40,000-ish.
You've done this tons of times. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And look,
yeah,
so this is
about
if you want to
40,000
raise your hot food cooking, you can do this as well.
What is my hot food cooking? It's got to be
99.3. I said, that's a lot.
I can't. I'm feeling like I should be getting to 99.9 soon, but I've been at 99 for quite a while. I think even when I started doing those 9 runs, I was at 99. So the hot food cooking kind of slowed down.
At 99, obviously. You're at 99.
So 9,000 meals, and I got 0.3 or something.
Well, anyway, that is pretty crazy. I don't know. That's how you would level a Vynora Priest. It's a little different, let's say, for a Magrenon Priest. I don't know if you want to level your soul. What is it? Soul strength? I believe it's just mind. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. That's actually
you mine. And if you're a Magrenon Priest, why wouldn't you mine? You're the only priest that can mine.
Just to give you an idea, my main character, who's a miner, his mining is not like amazing. It's like 87 or something.
Yeah.
And his soul strength is like 34. So it's pretty up there for not actually doing that much mining.
That's true. So
if I got my mining to 95, I'd probably be at 40 soul strength.
Yeah, so for full priest and for for all the priests to get channeling up, you've basically mentioned it. There's a few other spells that you would do before you would get to the gems to vessel, but it works the same way. You just cast over and over again. And for soul depth,
we should mention those spells.
It's okay. You for Magrenon Priest, if you can do it off the top of your head, go ahead.
Light token.
Yeah.
So instead of opulence, you would do light token, and for faux priest, you would do morning fog instead of opulence.
Okay. So that's not too bad. So you do those, you do gems. For soul depth, you do hot food cooking, which seems you said is the most superior way. And for soul strength, you do mining as a mine priest. There might be a better way. If any mine priest knows of a better way, let us know. But I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's essentially priests. I think we covered it. Go become a priest.
Pretty much. One thing that we didn't cover favor, really. Favor items.
Oh, favor items. Sacrificing. Why don't I do that quickly? I've got 41 favor. Now, Adam has this calculator that you can sacrifice any item in an altar. Any
Yeah.
item in an altar.
So
Some
let me see if
things
I
give
can-
you favor. Some things don't give you favor. That's why when we said favor items, which you said were rope making, I mean, there's yo-yos for toy making, although no one seems to do that. There's pieces of cloth, which you have here,
Mm-hmm.
and cordage ropes, that you have low-level cordage ropes here.
And let me link you that base price calculator that I use. If you can maybe show
So,
everybody that.
everyone, go here.
It's an odd
Apparently.
website for some like the odd. It's an odd URL because it has an. An
Okay,
IP
I'll give you an
address.
example of what you can do on that. I don't even know if I can show you guys this. I've got a really tiny window here.
I see.
Okay, I'm not going to show you guys, but Adam's going to do it really quickly because he can do it. I've got square pieces of cloth here. They're 73 quality.
I see.
I've got 42 favor right now, and I want to get to 50. How many pieces do I need to sacrifice?
Why don't we do the thing about those is that I've set those ones, or I mean, like the person Nightshade who made them for me has set them to be just above 5 favor each.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 42. I would only use one of those, and then the cordage rope, which is 40.
Okay, 41, 42, just under 42.
42.
So how much cordage rope would I need to get to 50?
You would need one more, so because they're each 3.5
One
favor,
more of
according
what?
to the 42 quarters.
So I need one piece of cloth and one cordage.
Yeah, that'll add up to about 8.5 favor.
So if I just take them, I put them in the altar like this.
Yeah, put them in the altar.
I right-click the altar and say sacrifice.
Sacrifice. It's a 30-second timer. And at the
So
end
what
of
does
it,
this
you just
do? This gives
you
you
get
favor.
That's right.
So instead of waiting the hour or whatever to refresh, this actually just gives you the favor. Like out.
Now, if you have a ton of this stuff, like locks or cloth or rope, then you just sacrifice it and it'll regenerate your favor. The only spell that I know of that you can't just keep
There it
casting
is.
over and over again
Extra
is
51. Yeah.
is Circle of Cunning. Circle of Cunning has a 5-minute cooldown on it, so. But
Which-
life transfer or any other spell actually for that matter, you can just cast. You cast it, you sacrifice for favor. You cast again, you sacrifice favor.
Anyway, I think we covered the priesthood. Thank you, Adam, for telling us all of your secrets and all the stuff that you know about priesting. I wouldn't do it, but I know you love it.
It's a lot of grinding. If you're a skill grinder, then you might consider priesting. But if you don't like grinding skills, you shouldn't.
Don't do
you
it.
shouldn't. No. What was that cast, by the way? It looks like you improved it.
I will show you guys the cast at the end of the episode. I think we're going to end it here. What are we going to do next week? I don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll find out next week. But until then, thank you everyone for joining. Please go to our website at serversaredown.com where you can find our Facebook and our Twitter and our YouTube page. I'd like to mention a couple things before we go. One, we just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. That's a big day. Thank you. Thank you everyone for subscribing on YouTube. Two, I'd like to give a shout out to a couple people. One's to Emmanuel. Thank you for coming. You came to our village and you looked around, and you said that you wanted me to give you a shout out. So here's us giving you a shout out. And the second person is just to say that, just to give a shout out to Max Man. Just so you know, Factional Fight loves you too. And we'll see you. I know you love Wurm a lot. So we love Wurm as well. And we will talk to you guys on the next episode. Let's see what this cast is. 58. You got a 58 cast. Congratulations.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care, guys.